We like to keep this a non-attractive place for birds.
A Northern Michigan airport is using some unique methods to make sure wildlife does not interfere with takeoffs and landings. If an animal does hit a plane, the damage can be significant.
And there is always a chance that the safety of those on board could be at risk. In this special report, 9 and 10's Brittany Wright breaks down what Cherry Capital Airport is doing to ward off wildlife before it gets too close to a plane.
It was surprising. I really didn't see them coming at all, and they struck the aircraft. You don't feel anything, but you can hear the impact.
Chief Flight Instructor at Northwestern Michigan College, Alex Bloy, felt a burst of fear when a bird struck his plane.
It's that initial, deep breath, but then you just, calm down and do what you need to do.
It happened 2 times 5 years ago. One bird struck the plane's wing, the other hit the propeller.
Both didn't result in any compromise of safety of flight. On the one that hit the wing, there was actually a dent in the skin of the wing, and it had to be repaired. The one that hit the prop, there was no damage to the aircraft.
But it can be dangerous, and it can happen at or near any airport. Cherry Capital Airport is working hard to avoid any animal from interfering with takeoff and landing. Dan Saul is the airport's Assistant Operations Director. He says they not only see birds on airport grounds, but all sorts of wildlife.
In the summertime, we'll see gulls, crows, starlings. In the fall, we'll get the migratory birds, the geese, and the ducks. And in the winter, we'll get the snow owls.
The airport has experienced 37 bird strikes and 1 skunk strike in the last 5 years. Last year, a loon hit an American Eagle plane while it was approaching landing. It left an 18-inch hole in the plane.
The plane landed here safely, and the pilots handled it perfectly. It put a hole through the nose of the airplane. I believe they were looking at retiring the airplane later that year, so they just retired it early.
To avoid any other potential damage or safety concerns related to animal strikes, the airport is constantly updating their wildlife hazard management plan. The plan outlines techniques they use to scare off wildlife. Pyrotechnics such as bird bangers or bird screamers are typically used.
One mimics a shotgun sound and one mimics a screaming firework.
The airport also keeps the grass height between 4 and 7 inches and has a perimeter fence.
The perimeter fence is for security, but it's also for wildlife, to keep deer from jumping over the fence, and we have a 10-foot perimeter fence around our whole airport.
Last August, the airport brought in a wildlife manager, a 7-year-old border collie named Piper. His owner, Brian Edwards, trained him.
I wanted to make sure that he obviously had a good come command, so he'll come back to me whenever I call him, even if he's in the midst of doing something.
Hey, over there. Get him, bud.
Really, all I have to do is put the prey in front of him and tell him to go get it, which is his cue, and off he goes.
When he's not going after wildlife, Piper stays busy doing patrol work.
He'll be running outside of the truck, and his command at that point is to check it out, and then he goes into scent work, which is sniffing the ground, looking for voles, moles, holes in the perimeter fence.
And his work is paying off.
The owls got used to what comes out of the red truck, and at that point, after a couple of 3 weeks, we didn't really have to do much chasing anymore because they flew away on their own.
Plus, he loves what he does.
When Piper is on, Piper is on. He does not want to get back in the truck. He wants to work until the job is finished.
A job that results in your next flight being that much safer. In Traverse City, Brittany Wright, 9 and 10 News at 6.